Leaning against the wall, Wally Paidi enjoyed his coffee, occasionally taking a drag on his cigarette. Allah, Allah, Allah. Wally Paidi's dicker accompanied the puff of his cigarette. Wally Paidi prayed for all the people in his village, all his friends, his teachers and everyone who was related to him. Wally Paidi prepared to visit his brother who had just had a child. After feeling that he had had enough coffee and smoked, Wally Paidi took out his motorbike and prepared everything he needed in case it rained, and Wally Paidi left for his brother's house. Wally Paidi had been given a blessing by Allah in the form of flashes of events that would happen in the future for a month. The Javanese call it, Wiru Sak Durung Winara. It's become troublesome now, because Wally Paidi sometimes blurts out words, saying things that haven't happened to the people around him. And when his brother's wife, a comrade of Wally Paidi, was pregnant, Wally Paidi had a flash of light in his heart that his brother's child was a boy. But his brother said that his wife had just had an ultrasound and the results were that her future child was a girl. Wally Paidi respected his brother very much. Because he was the one who warned Wally Paidi that he was starting to go in the wrong direction, Wally Paidi was silent after being told by his brother. His brother then said again, "If my child is born a boy later he will become a great Wally." Wally Paidi smiled. In his heart he said, "My brother is indeed funny and strange." He said that women pray as if their future child is a boy. Amen, amen, amen. Wally Paidi wholeheartedly agreed. "But my future child is a girl He said to Wally Paidi, "Ha, ha, ha." Wally Paidi could only laugh seeing all this. And yesterday, Wally Paidi heard that his brother's child had been born, and it turned out to be a boy. Wally Paidi was also happy to hear this news. Wally Paidi arrived at his brother's house after Maghrib, and it turned out that his brother's mother was there. And what surprised Wally Paidi was that Mas Kiai, Wally Paidi's teacher, was also there. "Just arrived at?" asked Mas Kiai. "Yes, Mas," answered Wally Paidi. "Your brother is still meeting guests from close relatives around here, you and me," said Mas Kiai. Then Mas Kiai stood up towards a room, and Wally Paidi followed him. When he arrived in the room, Mas Kiai turned on the TV and sat cross-legged. "Sit here, the coffee will be here soon," said Mas Kiai. Wally Paidi sat beside Mas Kiai, watching TV together. After changing channels, they finally found a good Western action movie. "Wow, this is a great film," said the Kiai happily. Wally Paidi was silent. Wally Paidi actually liked the film. But Wally Paidi had seen it and knew the ending. "I don't like this film," asked the Kiai. "No sir," answered Wally Paidi honestly, because it was useless to talk about it in secret. "Why?" asked the Kiai again. "Because I already know the storyline," answered Wally Paidi again. Then 2 cups of coffee came and were delivered to them. The Kiai opened the lid of his coffee cup and inhaled the aroma. A very grateful face was depicted on the Kiai's face. Then the Kiai put down his cup and said, "Yes." That's how it is when you already know the ending of the story even though the film you watch is good, it will look boring. That's why when Allah gave me a flash of light of events that will happen in the future, I asked Allah to close it again, because this life will be not fun and boring. Ha, 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 ha. Wally Paidi and the Kiai laughed. Ha, ha, ha. They laughed again, knowing each other. Likewise with our brother who just had a child. He could actually see the gender of his child, but he didn't want to, so it would be a surprise, he said. Said the Kiai. "Inga, Inga, ha, ha, ha," said Wally Paidi. "Poor people around you, if you don't ask Allah to close it," said the Kiai. "Yes sir," replied the guardian Paidi and began to pray to Allah to close the flash of light of the charisma.